Recording in progress.
Good evening. I'd like to call to order our City Council meeting for this evening. It is Wednesday, April 12th, 2023. All members of the council are here tonight. We're joined by council office staff, the mayor, various members of staff, and we do have a large number of firefighters joining us tonight. With that, I would like to make a small adjustment to the agenda today.
So I'm going to move that we adjust the agenda so that special recognition goes first, public comment goes second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you for that modification. So with that, we will proceed with our Pledge of Allegiance, which will be led by Gunnar Aldridge.
Can everybody please stand and do the pledge, please? Okay, 3, 2, 1. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Gunnar. We appreciate all of those who work so diligently to protect and serve the public, especially the firefighters and their families who so quietly support them behind the scenes. It's very appropriate to have family of a firefighter share the Pledge of Allegiance this morning, so thank you. With that, we do have a badge pinning that we're going to have. Chief, if you'd like, we'll be happy to turn the floor over to you.
Thank you, Council. One thing, as we recognize our firefighters tonight, we've got people that have completed their probation with us, their probationary year. We have some who have been promoted, and we'd like to recognize them with the badge pinning. But prior to that, I also want to recognize one of our firefighters, Joshua Kopinski, has received this Utah Commission on Fire Officer designation. He's been awarded his supervising fire officer designation, which is through an accrediting body set up by the International Association of Fire Chiefs and adopted by the state of Utah. And in order to get this, he has completed hundreds of hours of training, different assignments and activities in the fire service. And so we also wanted to recognize him at this time. So if he could come up, Josh.
If there's family that would like to take photos, you are very welcome to come up. This is completely open, fair game. You'll get a much better picture from up here than at the back of the room. So please.
Hold on, just
Nope. Oh, hold up. Nope. Family gets to take pictures.
Commander-in-Chief is here.
Josh isn't liking being in the spotlight. Thanks, Josh. Thank you. And then those that we'd like to recognize with the badge pinning ceremony, if, as I call your name, if you'll come up with your spouse or whoever it is that's going to pin the badge on you, and we'll just kind of form a line across the front of the council here. And once we get everybody up, we'll go ahead and pin the badges. And then if we want pictures or whatever, we can do that as well. But first of all, we've got Isaac Aldridge, who has completed his probationary year with us. If you'll go ahead and stand up, Isaac. Tanner Russell, who has completed his probationary year. He was unable to make it tonight. And Todd Seymour is also a firefighter who has completed his probation. We have a new paramedic hire, Kristen Rolfe, joined the department. She came from a department up in Davis County and has joined us. So, Kristen. Nathan Woolsey is also a paramedic that is unable to be here this evening. Woody Smith was promoted to paramedic. I don't see him here tonight. Matt Miranda was promoted to paramedic. Jacob Sorensen was promoted to engineer. And Curtis Madsen was promoted to engineer. And now we'd like to invite those who are going to pin the badges if they want to come up, and we'll take care of that. Yeah, have at him. And then if you'll stay up here, we'll take a couple of pictures. Yep, if everybody stay up here for just a minute. Okay, do you guys want to step forward a little bit and we'll let the council in and get a picture with everybody? Yeah, okay, you guys get in the back, step back. Yep. Also, before we continue with the meeting, those who are here for the badge pinning, we have some cookies, some refreshments upstairs. If you just want to leave and head right out this way, there's some stairs, and up on the second floor we can mingle and take pictures or whatever. But so.
give it just another moment or two till they have a chance to make it at least halfway to the stairs. All right. Next for special recognition, a face that is not at all unfamiliar to the council is Lyle Summers. We'll have Mr. Anderson share a little bit about why he's being recognized yet again.
Thank you, Council. You may know, but for the benefit of those that are in attendance, Mr. Summers has served on the Jordan Valley Water Conservancy Board, I think at least 6 years recently, and prior to that, 18 years total. So he's represented West Jordan on the water board. That water board is our primary supplier for culinary water within the city of West Jordan. And he has recently stepped down from that position, and Councilmember Jacob is now in that seat representing West Jordan. But this is an opportunity to just thank Mr. Summers for his service to West Jordan. He's a former council member, service on the water board representing the city's interest there. And with that service, we thought tonight would be a great night to just recognize him and thank him for his years of service to the city of West Jordan and her residents.
So we'd ask the council one more time to come in front of the dais as we present Mr. Summers with the certificate of appreciation. And it seemed appropriate to also provide him with a water-wise houseplant as a thank you for all the work that he's done with conservation, with helping a number of the larger projects, and really its overall sustainability has been, at least what I've seen, one of the major themes of his decades of service to the city. Thank you, Mr. Summers. Council will go forward and shake his hand.
Oh, thank you. I just wanted to let you know I appreciate the city of West Jordan. When I came in 1976, there was about, I think, 17,000 people here, and it's got bigger and better every year since then. And it's been a pleasure representing our great city on that Jordan Valley Water Board. And besides that, it's a lot of fun, so don't feel sorry for him. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, and we have one more recognition that is also a resolution for service on the Planning Commission. I believe this one will look to the mayor for an introduction.
Thank you. So, Catherine's here, and I'm just call her Catherine Richardson. We have lots of applications. I did something a bit strange. I did something a little bit different this time than I normally do. I we always put it out on Facebook like we have before, and word of mouth, and some other places. But this time I decided to put it under go through HR and put it under job openings with the city. And that was very effective. We got more applications in that way than we normally do. I'm not sure where she got her information from. Was that where you saw it? Anyway. So after reviewing all the applications and selecting her, I invited her, well, reviewing the applications, I contacted her and made an appointment to meet with her and interview her. And looking over her past history, I was quite pleased with the history she has. She's had some paralegal work where she's had some land use opportunities, and has worked with people when they've had difference of opinions on land uses. And that also impressed me. And some other documents, other background that she had, I thought was good. And her ability to communicate and listen and understand the process of what a planning commissioner does. All those things moved her up to the very top. And she lives on the west side of the city, which I thought was really good because we have good representation on our planning commission on the east side, and I was looking for some more on the west side. So in addition to who we have over there now, this will be another one there. And that is why I presented her name to you today. And I'm hoping that your committee on appointments has something to add to that.
All right, thank you, Mayor. With that, we'll look to Councilmember Pack for the Committee on Mayoral Appointments.
Thank you, Chair McConaughey, and thank you, Mayor Burton, for that introduction. Yes, the mayoral subcommittee on the subcommittee on mayoral appointments, comprised of Councilmember Bloom, Councilmember Jacob, and myself, have reviewed the proposed application and wholeheartedly support and endorse the opportunity. We're so grateful for people who step up and want to serve the community. And thank you, Mayor, for advertising this in a broader fashion to reach more people. Hopefully the other people who tendered an application we can put to work as well in some other capacity suited to their talents. Thank you.
And I'm saving all our applications for that purpose, or maybe for another opportunity in Planning Commission at a later time. So I appreciate them reaching out. And Catherine, if you want to just stand up just for a second so I can see who you are.
Would you please come to the microphone so those at home might be able to hear you as well? You'll need to press the button on the right, and that'll turn the light red, and then you're good to go.
Okay, I just wanted to say thank you for, appointing me to the Planning Commission. I hope to do a really good job for the city of West Jordan, and look forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, with that, if there are no other comments, Councilmember Green.
I'll move to approve resolution number 23-10.
I'll second.
Motion by Councilmember Green, a second by Councilmember Worthen. Any discussion to the motion? Seeing none, Ms. Quick, could you walk us through a vote?
Councilmember Pack,
Yes.
Vice Chair Bloom. Oh, she's gone. Chair McConaughey,
Aye.
Councilmember Whitelock,
Yes.
Councilmember Green,
Yes.
Councilmember Jacob,
Yes.
and Councilmember Worthen.
Yes, with a comment, thrilled to see some diversity more diversity coming into these committees. So thank you for putting in an application.
Thank you. That motion passes 6-0.
All right. With that, let's take just a moment. We do have a signed copy of the resolution, and Mr. Anderson, are we going to do photos with her as well? All right. Council? All right, that brings us to the next item on our agenda, which is citizen comment. Mr. Anderson, I've not yet been able to be promoted in the Zoom, so I'm not sure if there's anybody there online. Could you let me know if there's anyone? If you are online and you'd like to speak, please hit the icon to raise your hand.
And Mr. Ryan Wilkinson is online and has raised his hand.
All right, beautiful. We'll start with Mr. Oh, hold on just a moment here. No, we actually have to have, yeah, that one's got to be open. Apologies, we've got a little bit of shuffling to get there. There we go, Mr. Wilkinson. We'll start with you. Mr. Anderson, could I be promoted to co-host as well? I can see he's there. In the meantime, is there anybody here who would like to speak in citizen comments here in the room? All right, we'll have a double check for that here in a moment. Let's see. There we go. All right, Mr. Wilkinson, you should now be able to unmute. All right.
Oh, hello.
There you are. We can hear you. You have 3 minutes. Please proceed.
Oh, thank you. I attended the South Valley Regional Airport meeting last night. I don't know if any of the council members or mayor was there. It was held in West Jordan. I went prepared. I recently filed a grammar request concerning several issues related to the airport. The numbers I got were quite shocking, and some of those were even conveyed publicly last night, and people seemed a little surprised. There were over 79,000 flight operations that took place over your community solely from the South Valley Regional Airport in the 2022 calendar year, of which more than 90%, that's a conservative estimate, were related solely to pilot training. These flights routinely circle specific neighborhoods of West Jordan up to 30 or 40 times, and these flights sometimes last 8 hours apiece. As many as 5 aircraft perform these maneuvers consecutively. This is an average of over 200 flights a day. The aircraft are allowed to fly lower than the federally mandated altitude of 1,000 feet due to concerns about air traffic into and out of Salt Lake International Airport. And a flight training company that I recently consulted told me that the training pilots are allowed an additional 200 feet of leeway before they could be deemed to be violating the federal altitude regulation. This means that aircraft over your constituents' homes routinely takes place at between 700 and 900 feet. Noise levels produced at this altitude violates Salt Lake County's noise ordinance, which West Jordan City has posted on its own website. Although enforcement of this is difficult due to presumed federal preemption, I would love to see you guys step up for your constituents and do something about this. The worst they can say is no. To my knowledge, that has not been done. So West Jordan City already believes that aircraft noise is a problem in its community and has stated this explicitly in its city plan for at least the last decade. Despite this acknowledgement, West Jordan City enthusiastically supports the expansion of the airport. I need to know why. The records I obtained show that the airport sustains a net average annual loss of $3.6 million over the last 6 years, including 1 year where it lost $7.2 million. Considering these losses, why is expansion a good idea? How do West Jordan residents benefit? How do I benefit? Records show that West Jordan City only made $15,000 directly from the airport. Meanwhile, the public is exposed to the chronic noise, pollution, traffic, and crashes that occur. In approximately the last year, there were 4 crashes associated with the airport. 2 of these were Black Hawk helicopters that crashed due to pilot negligence, pilot error. And this cost taxpayers over $9 million. I need to know why you support this. No one has been able to give me a good explanation, although many have tried. I'll give you all the chance to resign tonight with the last couple seconds I have. Any takers?
All right, and that is actually just a little bit over time, but thank you for your comments. Always appreciate having a chance to hear from the public. Is there anybody else in the room who would like to address the council this evening during citizen comments? All right. Not hearing from Bingham Creek Library is a weird way to wrap up citizen comment. Okay, well, I will close the public comment and we will move on to reports. We'll move on to our reports to City Council. We will start with reports from the council on assignments that were carried out over the last 2 weeks. I'll start first. On March 30th, I had the opportunity to attend the WFRC Joint Policy Advisory Committee. With that, the meeting was mostly a review of funds that have been allocated during the legislative session that just wrapped up and where they would be spent. There was a lot of discussion on transit opportunities, specifically for rail and BRT, but it focused mostly on Utah County, anywhere from Heber Valley to Santa Quin to Provo Canyon. There were some other projects, but nothing that directly impacted West Jordan. If any are interested, let me know and I can let you know more on that. I am seeing most every light up. We'll start with Councilmember Jacob and work our way down. Councilmember Jacob.
Okay, I attended my second Board of Trustees meeting today in lieu of Sir Lyle Summers. And just wanted to give you a heads up of the impact that we are likely to see from the record winter that we've had is that they're already letting water out of Deer Creek and out of Jordanelle in a preemptive move to make room for what is anticipated to fill both reservoirs to capacity and add about 5 feet to the Great Salt Lake.
Yay.
So it has been a banner year, as we all know. We've been shoveling it all winter long, but just so you know where we're coming. The staff of the board has staff of the water district has recommended no a level 0 drought restriction or drought information for the coming year. The board will decide if we want to do a 0 or a 1 at our next meeting. A 1 just adds a little bit of messaging is all it does. Talking about how, one good year doesn't necessarily always make up for years and years of drought. Even this good of a year, still want to conserve, still want to put that message out there. So that's the only difference really between a 0 and a 1. The board is also looking at a property tax increase for this year of about 9%. So just keep an eye out for that. That's pending still, yet to come. So
just to clarify, that was 9, not 5. 9.
9 as in more than 8 and less than 10. Yes, roughly. It was 9 point something, but it was roughly 9.
Thank you. Councilmember Green.
Yesterday, we held the Association of Municipal Council meeting. Thanks to IT for making that meeting work over there in temporary City Hall. That was much appreciated. The feedback I got was that I think that's a better room than where we were, and I think it worked. So, Cindy, thanks for helping arrange that, making that work. IT, thanks for helping make that work. The crux of the meeting yesterday was a legislative update. We had Senator Cullimore, Representative Perucci, and Senator, I hope I say his name right, Bowden from the Sugar House area. And they discussed some of the legislative updates and priorities that were passed. Nothing substantial that we didn't already know, but it was good to question and ask some questions about some specific topics, and we'll end up, I think, as we work with. I think the best part of this meeting is that city council members got to meet with 3 members of the legislature and are able to talk to them about concerns, municipal concerns, and they heard those and we heard their concerns. And anytime we have a two-way conversation so that we can help all solve the problem, I think that's a good idea. So I think that was the benefit of that meeting yesterday, and that's all I have to report today.
Thank you. Councilmember Worthen.
On Budget Committee, we met yesterday morning at 8 o'clock. Ms. Steck had a conference she had to be at, so we met in the morning. We're moving along on things. We should be seeing the budget presented from the mayor to us fairly quickly. We're actually moving along really good on time this year, so we'll have plenty of time to review and go over it. Had a lot of good feedback from Councilmember Bloom and Whitelock. We've discussed salaries, compensation studies, the needs of each department and what they need. And you guys will be getting my notes on that soon. There's a couple other things that Ms. Deck will be sending to you directly. So when you do see that, feel free to review it. If you have any questions, let me know. Thank you.
Councilmember Whitelock.
Thank you. It's not my assignment, but I did attend that airport meeting, and I wanted to share that I was told that Mr. Wilkinson was online, and I verified because in the meeting they shared that they acted like our city got a lot of revenue, which just didn't make sense to me how our city was getting a lot of revenue. So I confirmed with Ms. Stack, and she's like, no, we don't. And she has nothing other than maybe ancillary from Jordan Landing, right? They may see a little bit of increase, but as far as our city, it is not something that we get money for having that airport here. It doesn't help us. And on the flip side, though, those millions of dollars that it loses each year because that property is owned by Salt Lake City, it is not our residents' money that is being used. It is airport money. So thank you.
All right, now we'll go to Mr. Anderson for the council office report.
Thank you, Council. A couple things. Number one, just a reminder of the station area plan for the subcommittee on Monday. It's a charrette where they will work on the station area plans for the 3 stations, Bingham Junction, Gardner Station, and City Center. Second thing I wanted to mention is we've been working since the first of the year with Y2 Analytics to provide a community survey. We have converted that into Spanish. It's been tested, and Y2 is now fielding survey responses. We hope to bring something back to you later in the summer. ULCT will be next week. I have 3 council members that are attending that. And as Councilmember Worthen mentioned, the budget will begin in earnest in May and June. So that season is upon us. And that's all I have for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have the mayor's report. Mayor Burton.
Good evening. Thanks for letting me come here. Earlier today, I sent you an email that looked like a bunch of ants running around. You don't need to do anything with that except for enjoy it. So Wasatch Front Regional Council puts on what they call the Mobile Active Transportation Tour, MAT for short, and that was in Davis, California, and that video was taken from a drone in Davis, California, and those little things running around that look like ants are bicyclists at UC Davis campus, and that just shows you how many bikers they have out there. They encourage biking, obviously, and it's an economic way for get them around, and that's how they get around the campus and pretty much around the entire city. That city's been getting biking awards and doing lots in mobile and active transportation for many years. And I picked up a few pointers, but one of the best pointers is something like this you don't do overnight. It takes a long time, and you have to work your way into it, which they have been doing, and we have been doing it too. Not as early as they did, but we're moving forward. But I thought that was intriguing. I don't ever see West Jordan getting to that position, but I do see us doing better on providing different forms of transportation for people getting around throughout the city. And council, I want to thank you for putting on your general plan appreciation dinner and the opportunity I was invited to be there with you. I thought that was a good way to learn more about the general plan and to show appreciation to those who spent a year or more working on that. I also attended a meeting about municipal leaders convening on citizenship, and I was impressed with what I learned. I've asked Ariel to look more into that and get some information on that and see if that's something that the city wants to be a part of. What that does, it tracks people and helps people who want to become citizens who have moved in here from another country and become naturalized citizens. And that way we can monitor and know, and we would know when they get there, and we could go to their ceremonies when they get there and support them in becoming citizens of the United States. So I'll keep you posted on that as we gain further information. Last week, we had FEMA training in our city. All of our department heads were invited with several other people who have strategic positions in the city that make a difference when there's an emergency. One of the big takeaways I got from that is our city does a very good job. We are well prepared. Are there more things we can learn? Of course there are, and we can do it. But I think the FEMA staff that came was quite impressed that we knew what we were doing and we knew how to do it, and we've been through that. Granted, one of the things they did is give us a scenario of a big snowstorm, and of course we are prepared for that. We knocked their socks off on explaining that. But they gave us some other scenarios that we're not quite as used to having, such as a chlorine leak. But it was a good experience for us, and Jeff Mulcahy will continue to follow up with us as a city, and make sure that we're well prepared for the unknown, which is a challenge, but he does a good job with that. The Easter egg hunt went off without a hitch. It was fantastic. Thank you for those council members that joined with us there. I was worried about the weather. It was warmer than it usually is, but wetter than normal. But successful, and the snow was all melted by that morning, so the colored eggs didn't have to show up in the white. Coming up next week is Utah League of Cities and Towns Conference. I'm looking forward to seeing you there. That'll be great. I'm going to leave Monday morning to start heading out that way. Friday, there's an event at the Viridian Center. It's called Tumbleweeds Kids Film Company Awards Ceremony. And tickets are available online for the public if they choose to go there. And that's kind of cool that they're holding that here in West Jordan for people in West Jordan and other surrounding areas of kids who are acting in these films. Coming up on April 22nd is the NAMI Walk. NAMI is a nonprofit organization that helps with mental awareness, and that will be here at the Viridian in case you want to come and participate in there. You can sign up online. There's no fee to register, and you can go walk for help, mental health. Something that may be of interest to you as well is Eli Mitchell is going to have a memorial service on Wednesday, April 26th, and it's open to the public, and you're invited to come as well. And except it's at 6 o'clock. That's a council meeting night. So I will be late for that council meeting. I didn't set the date there. They set it. They just invited us to come and join with them. And another exciting thing happening is April 15th is our next dumpster day. So if you have trash, bring it to Public Works on April 15th. Instead of paying your taxes, or in addition to paying your taxes. Okay, and I was asked to say something about potholes. Well, let me tell you something about potholes. In the winter, we get snow in Utah, and when it snows, sometimes it gets cold, warm. Mostly in the spring and in the fall is the worst time. So the snow melts, and when the snow melts, the water goes between the cracks, and then at night it freezes. And what does water do when it freezes? It expands. When it expands, it puts pressure on that, and it pops the concrete. And then cars drive by on it when it broke it loose, and it knocks it out, and sometimes it knocks the next piece, and it starts making a hole. So when we're not out plowing, soon after, particularly in the spring, and you've seen this, and several of our residents have, we get these holes. Now, if it's on a city street, we go and repair it. Our crews go out several times a week and repair potholes. It's challenging in the winter. In the winter, we have to do a different type of repair. It's just a temporary one because we can't do a hot repair in the winter. That means when the weather warms up, we're going to got to go back on those same spots and repair those potholes. We probably spend 2 to 3 days a week this time of year just repairing potholes. And how do we know where those are? We rely on residents telling us. So if you use the service app on the website and report them, that's the best way to do it. Otherwise, if you see them or I see them, or staff sees them, they make a note and report it and get them cleared. So watch those. We like to have them filled up and prepared before the car can fit in the pothole. Now, if they happen on other roads like 90th South, Redwood Road, or other state roads, you can report that to us and we'll report that to the state, or you can contact the state directly, but we're happy to pass that on to them. And that is why you'll see in the fall, we put down the crack sealant. And why do we do it in the fall? Because if we do it in the summer, the asphalt expands, the cracks are really small. So we wait till the weather cools down and the cracks are bigger, then we put the crack sealant down to help reduce the amount of potholes we'll get the next spring after the winter goes through. And we also do things such as putting, I don't remember, it's an RV5, anyway, a special coating we put on there that protects the asphalt. Asphalt has oil in it. During the summer months, oil actually evaporates, and when it evaporates, it dries that out and causes it to crack. That's why we put those sealants down, which usually adds an extra 7 years of life onto a regular asphalt road, which costs a whole lot less than milling, which is why we spend so much money on doing those sealants. Any questions?
So, Mayor, I'm going to tell you, after spending 6 months in the former areas of Yugoslavia, of Kosovo and Macedonia, our potholes pale in comparison. And I promised back in 2000 that I would never complain about a pothole in Utah again. And I've actually been true to that after 23 years, because it's significant potholes when you're weaving between all the lanes to miss the potholes. So our potholes don't pale in comparison, but thank you to Public Works for taking care of those.
Certainly. And I had a conversation with UDOT about this yesterday as well. They are further behind the gun than we are because they have a lot more road lane miles to catch up on. So be patient with them as they do that. And speaking of UDOT, UDOT has started a new program called the Utah Trail Network. You know, Governor Cox came out and said, hey, we're going to put all these money into trails. So UDOT has put this organization together. They only have one staff member on there right now, and they don't have any plan, but other than putting that together. So I'll keep you posted on that as that gets going. That was announced to us in our Wasatch Front Regional Council Active Transportation meeting earlier today. That is my report, unless you have a question.
I don't see any other questions. Thank you very much, Mayor. We'll move on to Mr. Lee for the City Administrator's Report.
Hi, I'd like Jared Milgate's here from our Stormwater Division in Public Utilities. I'd like him to give you an update on what's happening with runoff and any flood concerns there might be in West Jordan.
Mr. Milgate, good to see you here this evening.
Good to see you. Thank you. As you know, we've been out, let me start over. Stormwater Division's been preparing for this situation. We've been building a lot of sandbags. We've built, at the moment, 27 pallets of sandbags, which equates to 1,350 filled bags. We have about 3,500 unfilled in case we do get some flooding. Our crews have been out cleaning the drainage ditches. What I mean by that is the trash grates along there. They've been diligently, especially working out west, where over the summer we've seen a bunch of runoff and some flooding out there. We've been cleaning off the trash grates. We've had all crews, meaning our construction crews, our inspection crews, our operation maintenance, our sweepers. They've been diligently cleaning road grates. That's what they've been focusing on. The other thing that we've been doing is work in drainage ditches right now, solving some erosion problems that we've seen. Kevin Smolik, our construction supervisor, has been diligently doing that. So that's what his crew has been focusing on right now. Rochelle Smith, our operation and maintenance crew lead, has been TVing lines, her crew has. They've also been cleaning lines. So that's to see if we're seeing problems and kind of what's going on. Our inspectors have been inspecting sites. That's Richard Ramirez and Jose Cruz. So they've been checking our basins, checking the post construction sites, as well as SWIP sites where we're putting in new development. Okay. And then we've also been working along the Jordan River, not working, but inspecting that for any erosion or any concerns that way, as well as just kind of looking throughout the city. In fact, we met again today, the staff did, and we said, hey, is anyone seeing anything that we've missed? Is there anything that we should not, we should be prepared for? And the staff all agreed we're in good shape. We did notice today, actually, that Bingham Creek is taking a little bit of water that we didn't expect. Not a big deal, but the water actually was coming from the Welby Jacob Canal. Apparently, the Oakers is starting, with the warm temperatures, the Oakers is starting to release water. So we will be monitoring that throughout this time, as well as the Jordan River, Bingham Creek, Barney's Creek, all the creeks in the city. Okay, so our crews, again, we feel that we're well prepared if stuff comes up. Obviously, if we can't handle it, we'll lean on fire. That's really what I got.
Seems a little backwards. Usually when fire needs help, it's public works they call.
Well, it's the teamwork, right? So that's all I got, unless
Are there any questions?
I don't know what else to.
The only thing I would chime in is for those who haven't yet done a ride along with Storm Drain, I've done a few, and it is amazing how much infrastructure is under our feet that most people don't know about. The impact that water can has is absolutely terrifying. And when you see all the effort, all the work that's been done to route it to places safely, it's incredible. It sounds, for the most part, things that we can do to help prevent any flooding are just keeping our storm drains clean. But there's a lot of engineering, a lot of thought, a lot of hydraulics and math that goes through how to distribute that water. And I was floored by how much I didn't know the first time I went to ride along with Mr. Milgate. So any of the council that haven't done that yet, or planning commission, as you're looking at new developments, I would highly encourage you to talk to the mayor's office to arrange a ride along with stormwater. There's some fantastic folks over there.
May I ask one favor?
Please.
If you guys are getting like phone calls and kind of like concerns, where people can help us the most, really, because we have over 10,000 inlet grates in the city, 10,000. We have 15 staff members in stormwater. That's myself included, and all the operators, a supervisor, and crew leads. What we really need help with safely and not on main roads is having residents just clear a grate off if it's safe to do so. That we can't hit 10,000. And that's not counting our basins, the creeks, any issues of that sort that may arise. Okay.
So that would be about 660-ish storm drains per person.
Yes.
You can't knock that out in an hour?
No. To give you a rough estimate, in a day's time, when my crew is out after a storm, roughly we hit 100 to 200 total, because we're going out in teams. Because generally our first line of defense is to hit the mains, right? Because that's where the heavy traffic is, and then we work into the subs.
Then the only other question I had, I believe I saw, and this may be a question for the mayor, there was an email that got forwarded to me about a conversation with Mr. Davenport and the next day or two about what can be done to prepare. Mayor, do you know what I'm referencing?
Are you talking about Adopt a Storm Drain program?
No, there was that's as well, but there was a meeting that invited folks who previously participated in CERT, the city's CERT program, to meet with him sometime in the next week or so. I can find it. If you want to take a second to talk about Adopt a Storm Drain, I would love to.
Well, I just want to say, if residents are willing to go out and clear off that storm drain in front of their house, that would be great.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I also want to tag on to what, this doesn't go with his department, but some of the concerns I've heard from people are groundwater. We don't do much with groundwater in the city. People who may have problems with groundwater already know who they are because they've had those situations before. They're probably between 13th West and the Jordan River. I know some people who have sump pumps there, so they may want to make sure their sump pumps are up and going because that starts and ends on their property, and so we don't generally deal with those type of concerns.
Thank you. I did find that email that I was referencing. It was sent out on April 8th from Jeff Mulcahy. I can't pronounce his last name.
Mulcahy, like in
Yes, our
Father
emergency
Mulcahy
manager,
on MASH.
talking about the West Jordan Emergency Preparedness Citizen Readiness Corps event that'll be Thursday, April 20th at 7 p.m. at Fire Station 53.
Yes.
That's what I was referencing.
That's it. He has been doing those. We'll continue to do those.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Lee.
Nothing further.
All right. If there is nothing else there, we will move on to our business item for the evening. It is ordinance 23-15. Mr. Anderson, would you like to speak to this one, or shall we have Councilmember Green?
Either one of us could do it. You want me to start, Councilmember Green?
You can go for it.
In the 2023 legislative session, House Bill 22 changed the term local districts and now call them special districts. When we completed the amendments to Title I, that bill was still in process, if you remember the Title I amendments a few meetings ago. So this cleans that section of code up. It's one section. It's Title I, Chapter 16, Chapter 6, Section 15. And all it does is there's about half a dozen instances where we have the word local districts. Those have been edited out, and it is special districts.
All right.
I'm going to
turn on the microphone.
I'm going to turn on the microphone. I'm going to move to approve ordinance number 23-15, amending West Jordan City Code 1-6-15.
Second. Motion by Councilmember Green, second by Councilmember McConaughey. Any discussion to the motion?
I'm just going to say this was the easiest ordinance to fix, is because you could actually use search and replace. That was a nice function.
All right, seeing no other comments, Ms. Quick, would you walk us through a vote?
Councilmember Jacob,
Yes.
Councilmember Green,
Yes.
Chair McConaughey,
Aye.
Councilmember Worthen,
Yes.
Councilmember Pack,
Yes.
and Councilmember Whitelock.
Yes.
Thank you. That motion passes 6-0.
I'm going to move to approve the consent items part of the agenda.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Green, second by Councilmember Whitelock. Any discussion to the motion? See none. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Appears to pass unanimously. Council meeting wrap up. We will be meeting again tomorrow to discuss the general plan. We will save administrative items for that point. Are there any council members that would like to make remarks before we close this meeting and move to one of our agency meetings? We'll start with Councilmember Green, and then Councilmember Worthen, and then Councilmember Pack. Councilmember Green.
I'm going to make at least one comment. There are, although we keep hearing that the South Valley Regional Airport doesn't provide West Jordan City any money, I'm going to disagree. South Valley Regional Airport is home of the West Jordan Army Aviation Facility, and is home to the 211th Aviation Battalion. And they have, or the 211th, yeah, whatever. And there is a Black Hawk unit out there, and there is an Apache unit out there. When we say that the South Valley Regional Airport brings no money into us, we minimalize the work and the dedication of 700 plus Utah National Guard soldiers who put their lives on the line to train for combat out of that airport. To talk about an aircraft accident that occurred at Snowbird as if it happened in West Jordan is disingenuous. It has that has as much impact to West Jordan as if Mayor Burton got in a wreck in Sandy and blamed it on West Jordan. That airport provides for the nation's defense. That the sound of those helicopters, the Apaches, the Blackhawks, sometimes the Lakota, that's the sound of freedom. And when those 700 soldiers, about 700 soldiers, come to West Jordan to train, I guarantee you they don't all eat MREs in the Jake Garn Armory across the street. Somebody wants to know what the advantage to having South Valley Regional Airport in West Jordan City is. First, the history of that airport is it was part of the Kearns Army Aviation Airfield. It was part of Camp Kearns that was built here in 1942. It was turned over from the Department of Defense to Salt Lake City just after the war, with the contingency that, as I understand it, it's got a deed restriction that it'll always be used for aircraft operations. The history of that airport is national defense, and that still continues today. And like I said, to say that that airport has no value to this city trivializes the dedication of the 700 or plus enlisted men, women, and officers of the Utah National Guard.
Thank you, Councilmember Green. I would also suggest that for those interested in learning more about the history of the airport and some of the operations that go out there and reasons why it is viewed as an asset for the city, the mayor's office can put you in connection with the Airport Advisory Committee, which has very quick and readily accessible access to a lot of the history behind that, which does answer a lot of the whys. Councilmember Pack.
Great. Thank you, Chair McConaughey, and thank you, Councilmember Green, for those poignant comments. I want to echo what was mentioned regarding the joint dinner that we had with General Plan and Planning Commission. I think it's important to be able to network and have opportunity where we can communicate with one another, share stories of our service, and build a camaraderie that way, so that we're not three disjointed bodies trying to help the citizenry, but rather that we can network in synergy with each other. Earlier today, I was also able to attend the meeting at Public Works relative to the 9,000 South expansion that's proposed, and really interesting information there that I'm sure we'll all get informed on and have other opportunities to attend with open houses through the summer and into the fall. But they had a traffic auto simulator that was really interesting, and I know Mayor Burton is excited to know that there'll be bike lanes on both sides, and there'll be 12-foot lanes, 5 lanes, the turn lane, and then 2 lanes each direction, with a proposed speed limit of 40 miles an hour. It was interesting to see the 50th percentile average speed was 46, the 85th percentile was 54. There was one car clocked at 111. So thankfully that was just one car. And then that will also help Bacchus Highway in the future plan to be widened to 5 lanes as well. And it's proposed to have 3 stoplights on the expansion, no roundabouts. I mentioned how residents, at least in my district, have talked about roundabouts, serving on PTA and community council at Copper Hills. You get a lot of feedback from people in the area. There aren't any UTA bus services planned, and there aren't any turnoffs either, like you'd see, let's say, on a Redwood Road corridor. So it should aid in flow of traffic and also safety of traffic. So, especially with all of the development zoning around it, which would be, we've got the Ivory Homes subdivision, 5 units to an acre there, and then you've got industrial and flex office and retail around it. So really interesting. Thanks to the mayor's office for coordinating that. It's wonderful to have opportunities that the public can come to and just be better informed on what's proposed to happen in the community. Thank you.
That 111 kind of sticks out. Just by reference, a Cessna 152 typically touches down at about 55 miles an hour. So, Councilmember Worthen.
Okay. A couple of questions for the mayor and his office. I'm just looking for updates on the curb cut at the Drakes. And then I believe the comment about the adopt a storm drain was from, I don't know how many meetings back, but we had talked about having your administration work on that program and getting something out to the public. So, maybe looking for some updates on both of those things. I do know that I only talked to you about the Drakes on Wednesday. Also, I have 26 meetings left after this meeting. If we have all the ones in November and December. For those of you who don't know, I am not running again, so my spot will be up. So anybody that's interested in running for city council that's out there and listening, needs someone that would like to run, please call me. I'd love to talk to you about it and what it's all about and what you need to put in. Connor, you probably haven't picked up on this quite yet, but I always like to do a shout out at the end of council meetings because I like to end on a positive. So you get my shout out tonight. If people don't know Connor in the back, he is like the brains of making sure that everything is running very well as far as the computer systems go. And what, honest to God, what would we do without IT, right? Our internet went out, I think it was like 2 weeks ago. It was Comcast. And my husband and I both work from home, different companies, and we're looking at each other like, what do we do now? Couldn't really work. So, Connor, thank you for all you do back there. And Mayor and Corbin, I'll follow up on that. I just wanted to make sure I got that out there. Thank you.
All right, so I don't see any other council remarks. We do have a couple other agency meetings that we have tonight. So for those who are here in attendance, you'll see one meeting end and then another start, and then one end and start, another end, another start. Most of it's housekeeping and giving the mayor's staff an opportunity to provide the council with the budgets for those meetings. So if the next little bit looks a little bit weird, that's why. We do have a little bit of a discussion at the end, a committee of the whole work session item that will come after those agency meetings. We do need to give the council office just a moment or two to swap, to end one recording for one meeting before we start the next. So just a quick heads up as to what you'll see. With that, Mr. Anderson, did you have a comment?
I just had a quick question. I thought we were doing the committee of the whole next and the agencies at the end, but we can accommodate.
Yeah.
We just need about 1 to 2 minutes.
Listen to what I mean, not what I say. If you listen to what I say, you're probably going to get a little bit of trouble. We do have somebody here for the committee of the whole meeting, so we'll do that, and then we'll do the agency meetings.
All right, thank you.
I'm going to move to adjourn the West Jordan City Council meeting and adjourn and commence the committee of the whole after a sufficient time to fix the technology to start.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Green, second by Councilmember Whitelock. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, we stand adjourned.